Good morning guys. Morning Zeems, morning Zypher. Hope you're all doing well, guys. Hope we all had a good day yesterday. It was a really good morning yesterday, really nice London volume. Really happy with the trades, 2 impulse trades taken on stream. And yeah, really happy with that. Morning Alessandro, how you doing? How you doing there, Zeems? Zypher, how are you doing? Balas, how are you doing? Morning guys. Just gonna wait a little while and then we're gonna get into some breaking down. You can see I've already marked out GJ a little bit. Obviously the buying range above this level isn't too good at the moment, so it's gonna be a lot safer to be looking for buys above this 153 level, but we'll get into that. I've been doing really well, thanks, seems. Didn't actually sleep the best last night, but yeah, I woke up at like 5, jumped in the swimming pool, went for a run, and then came back home. So other than that, not too bad. Sorry, just making sure that this is fine. And then yeah, also gonna check out the all of the charts on the Telegram, guys. How's it, Nick? Nick, I did just see your message now and I saw that come through, so thanks, I appreciate that. Members, a warm welcome to Nick because he's just joined the membership group as well. But I'll chat you on WhatsApp, Nick, and we can go through everything. Morning Sharif, City and Street Food, hi from South Africa. Welcome. Seems like we got, well, City and Street Food's a new viewer, one new viewer. Okay, before I do my charts, obviously gonna check out your guys' charts from the Telegram. Let's see what we have here starting. What's the date today? The 25th. So let's see, we got a chart from Balas, which is gold 3v1 bullish. I'll have to check that structure, but potential buys above 1840, perfect. Risky sells below 1839, also good. Problem is I don't know if there is going to be enough range there. It's quite tight, and we know on gold we like to see more than 15 or 20 pips because obviously it moves so much. So if we're going to wait for a candle close below that level, it's going to take a little bit of that range away, but otherwise the sell below 1837.8 is absolutely perfect. So I'll definitely say that those are much safer sells. And then the potential buys above 1840. If we look at gold on the daily, guys, we had a very strong bullish candle close yesterday, and now this new daily candle is either currently forming its bottom wick or it's just going to carry on continuing bearish. But then if it flips bullish and breaks yesterday's daily high, which will come above this 1840 level, then there's a very good chance for that bullish continuation, filling this range, and then who knows how high we could go, maybe to 1860. So yeah, very nice gold chart. Let's see what else we got here. Another one from, where's this one from? Also Blas. This is the pound yen chart. So we got, yeah, clear range above this level. I definitely do like the thoughts of buys above this 153.800 level. It's obviously going to be a little bit counter trend because we have the bearish market structure, but if we get the candle setups, it does make a lot of sense. And then you also have here potential buys above 153.40. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of range, and I know you say that it is clean candles on the 1 hour, but we do have to obviously take into consideration this resistance level on the 30 minutes. It's going to be quite tight to take a trade. So what I would wait for is what I have marked out here. I'm kind of using this as a no trade range right now. I want to see a candle close above this level or a candle close below this level. Sorry, not above that level. This other level lower down here, I think it is going to be too tight, to be honest. I mean, we look at range, it's 11 pips, it's not great. So rather wait for the candle close above 153.845 or a candle close below 153, 189. I think that's going to be a lot safer. Also, obviously, with market structure, if we want to continue bearish, I think these sells could make a lot of sense. If we go look on the daily or the higher time frames, we've created a low on the 4 hour. Now we're coming down to retest that low. And then obviously on the daily time frame, we've been bearish for the past few days, basically the past week. So now we're obviously at this daily support level. So we do need to be aware of that. We've wicked into it and rejected it. So what we're going to need if we want to really come down to these bottom levels is a candle close below this daily support level. So a daily candle close. And that can then indicate us filling this range. What we also have to be aware of though, guys, is because we've had quite a strong bearish push already, we may get a couple of daily bullish candles. Basically our retest of this zone. So I'll pull back and then form some daily resistance at that level, retest the daily low which was created at this current level of daily support, and then we'll get that range fill. So it might take a little while. Obviously we have to take into consideration exhaustion, guys. It might not just happen overnight or throughout one day. So currently at a daily support level, if we start forming some bullish candles, we can then expect a retest of this previous level of support. Once we've turned that into resistance, it's a very good indication that we can then continue bearish. And then again on the weekly, that makes a lot of sense because that'll be a break of the current weekly low and then filling this weekly clean range to the left. Morning, Troy. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, that is my long-term sort of idea when it comes to GJ. I'm not too interested right now in taking buys above this level. We can mark it out, of course, but I'm not too interested in buys above this level. And I think sells below 153, 189 could make a lot of sense. But otherwise, yeah, very nice charts. Yeah, your chart marking is definitely on point, that's for sure. Let's check here. We have a chart from Alessandro as well, which is also a GJ. You have the same, so you actually are also going to wait for the higher up resistance level, which is great. That will also be, say here, 30-minute flip from bearish to bullish market structure. So like that. Yeah, if we did form, I think we did end up forming resistance at that level. But again, it's not a huge amount of range. So taking a sell down to this support level isn't going to be too much range. And then, yeah, the sells below 153.100, clean out bearish market structure continuation. I do think that makes a lot of sense. So I'll also be looking for that. We work a lot more and all night after I close the tattoo. Oh, okay, I see. Well, welcome. I'm glad that everything is going well. I've always wondered what it would be like to, like, have you had some pretty weird tattoo requests, Troy? Because if you've been in the industry for a really long time, you must have seen some interesting things. I mean, I've one tattoo, but definitely slightly interested to get more. I got a long time ago, and they always say that the hardest part to resist getting more is like after you've just got your first one. So I kind of got through that, and then yeah. Let's see, we got a picture from, well, Sharif, I can't bring this up on the side here because obviously it's in picture format, but I do see your resistance zone marked out, your support zone marked out. Obviously this is based on the 4-hour time frame, so you want to see obviously the 4-hour buys above that 153.710 level, and then 4-hour sells below 153.029, which is obviously the 4-hour support and resistance marked out. So yeah. Yeah, guys, we're just gonna wait at the moment. Obviously we have about 6 minutes till this candle closes, and then the next one is gonna open. Let's go look at gold. We did have a really nice gold chart just now, but as you can see here, we are kind of ranging on gold. It's a bit messy at the moment. I wouldn't really want to be involved in this. There is going to be a possibility of some risky sells below this level. You can see we have kind of clean traffic to the left, but again, it's definitely not enough range to make me want to take a trade at that level. What I would much rather wait for is a candle close below 1837 or a candle close above 1844. You can see on the 4-hour, we're kind of back in this range level. We had the fake out to the top side, came straight back into the range, and then we kind of pushed quite bearish a couple days ago on the 21st, and then came back up. So now we're just doing this at the moment in this area. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. If we can form some strong resistance on the 4 hour, which only does close in about 2 hours, and get below this level, so that'll be us not respecting this 4 hour level of support, then I definitely do see us at least coming down to 1835 and continuing this range. What's important to remember on gold, guys, is the longer that you range for, the bigger the impulse is going to be. So once gold does break out of this 4 hour sort of consolidation, we're going to have a massive move, whether it be to correct this move which we had up, or to continue the bullish momentum above this level. You can see we have clean candles to the left here. So very, very important to remember, the longer something consolidates, the bigger the impulse, or the bigger the break out of the consolidation is going to be. It's kind of like a spring. So the more you twist the spring, when you let it go, the bigger the kind of recoil is going to be. So just be aware of that, especially if you are interested in taking a breakout based on the higher time frames on gold. I would only be interested in taking a breakout on probably the 4 hour time frame with gold. If we're looking at the market structure, I did say I want to check that. We have our weekly as bullish, of course. Our daily is also bullish. We know that from this high created over here, was created by this point down here. I have not exceeded that, so we're obviously still bullish on the daily. So that's our 2v0. The 4 hour, this was our high created by this point. So now this is our low, created by all the way up here, this high. So we need to exceed that point before we're bullish in market structure. So at the moment we're bearish in market structure on the 4 hour and bullish on the daily and the weekly. Then obviously we need to drop down to the 1 hour. This is where it does get a bit confusing, especially when you're consolidating like this. But basically what I would have done is identified this high. This is then your point which created the high, because you have your 2 candle pullback. Now we got a candle close below that level. And where did we create this high from? This low. We look for the 2 candle pullback. There's 1 candle, there's 1 candle, 1 candle, 1 candle. Here's your 2 candle, 2 or more candles, remember. So this is our point of structural flip. So we're only going to be bullish above this level. So at the moment we have a 2v2 because we haven't exceeded this point and we haven't created a new low to give us an area of structural flip. So at the moment we have a 2v2 market structure, meaning equal buyers and sellers in the market. Again, the consolidation does confirm that. So at the moment we have, lots of buyers, lots of sellers, lots of buyers, lots of sellers. So it's just doing that at the moment. So we're just ranging. So again, if you want to trade safe on gold and play it safe on gold, wait for us to establish an overall structural bias. So that'll be a 3v1, because then you have more of a bias on the one side than you do on the others. When it's a 2v2 and you're a bit worried about the situation, you can just wait it out. Obviously 2v2 also then gives us opportunity to take both buys and sells. So if you are more of an aggressive trader or are feeling confident, it gives you the opportunity then to feel confident in taking sells below this level or buys above this level. So it just depends on how you're feeling, obviously at the time, and then whether or not you want to trade against or just with the equal structural bias. So at the moment, I'm wanting to see these sells play out based also on the 4 hour time frame. If we go to a 4 hour again, I want to see us breaking below this 4 hour level of support. And by that, we're also respecting this resistance level on the 4 hour, forming a new resistance level and breaking support. As soon as you start seeing indications like that, you know that there is a good chance that if you then get the lower time frame candle setups, that you're going to have that bearish continuation. Obviously, we got the clean candles to do it as well. So definitely something to take into consideration. GJ, it's not great. It's not great at all. I don't think we're going to have a situation like yesterday where we had a nice strong push. But yeah, let's just wait and see. We could. I'm thinking if we form a weak resistance and then the next candle wicks down and breaks the resistance, then obviously on the 30-minute we do have this resistance level, but what we would then be expecting is for London volume to just kind of take us through that level. But again, it's going to be a lot higher risk. I think it might just be safer to wait for a candle close above 153 845, or what we can do is wait for candles to come up to this level, respect this resistance level, and then take the sells back down. That's your two options. I did say earlier on in the stream that this range is obviously not your ideal sort of trading range, especially because of this resistance level right over here. Been bagging US30, nice John. Keep it up. Haven't actually checked out US30 in a very long time. Or Nasdaq at that, but I also heard Zeems was doing pretty well with Nasdaq. So yeah, guys, let's just be a little bit cautious. If we are feeling confident in this candle close, obviously I want to see a close, yeah, probably above this level. Then the next candle to work down and break the high of this candle. I think then obviously we could see some bullish continuation. I am obviously very, very wary about this resistance level. It's definitely not ideal. If this was clean candles, I would always take this sort of a trade. I do want to see a bottom wick as well. If I don't see that, because again, I'm already going against some of my confluences, especially trading into a level of resistance. So what I want to see is some other confluences, which I normally look for, or confirmations, and that includes a wick down, retest of this area, and then now I want to see this wick back up and break its own high, and then there might be a possibility for some very risky buys. So just something to look at. Check this range. Yeah, it's definitely not ideal. Based on the 1 hour though, it doesn't look bad. Counter trend though. Yeah, I don't think I will be taking these buys, guys. Too much against what I kind of like to see. Has got a pretty good bottom wick at that. It's this resistance level. That's where my concern is. Could just push straight through it with volume though. So I'm not going to take this buy, but this is what my position would look like, guys, if I was taking this trade. I can't move it there. I'd be aiming to get about up here, and my stop loss is obviously going to be below this current candle. Again, not in this. Don't know if anyone else is taking this position, but just be sure of managing risk. Where I would probably be managing risk is if price flips bearish again. So if this candle flips bearish, I would close half, and then obviously my stop loss is going to be at the low of this current candle. There's not many other places where you can manage risk on this trade. You can obviously go down to the 5 minutes, or this is still the first candle of the new overall like 1 hour and 30-minute candle. So not much you can do here. So this is, if you are in this position, I'll be closing half now. And again, guys, this is Really, really good example of why not to take counter trend trades. So again, if you are in the position, I would suggest closing half. That would be about only 3 pips, 3.4 pips. And then the overall stop loss is 7.7 pips. So yeah, nothing, not in this. Gold still looking for some movement of some sort. Haven't really got anything at the moment. Also guys, if you haven't, please do remember to leave a like on the stream. I would appreciate that for sure. Morning Antonio, how are you doing? Morning. And yeah guys, by this stage, if you are again in this position, I would just suggest closing it because I don't see any possibility of a bullish continuation for sure. So definitely a good idea not to get tempted into taking that. I didn't take it. I hope no one else took it. Counter trend, obviously you can see now if we go to the 30-minute, you can see why we rejected this level. We are at a 30-minute resistance, which is why at the beginning of the stream I said when I was looking at that chart out of Telegram that you can't just ignore 30-minute levels of resistance. They are super relevant levels. Even if it looks like clean candles on the 1 hour, if you have a 30-minute resistance there, you do need to take that into consideration. So I hope no one took that trade. If you did, as long as you manage risk, it's fine. But this was a really good example of the importance of resistance level or support and resistance levels on the 30-minute time frame for sure. Hopefully we can come down a little bit more on gold. Nice strong bearish candle close below this support level kind of. So let's see if we can continue. Hello from Dubai, welcome. Let's see, we got a chart in Telegram here from Alessandro, and this is a sell that you took yesterday. So we obviously had a little bit of consolidation, then we had a very strong bearish candle closes on the 30-minute time frame below our support level, or below the marked out support level which you had. So of course that's exactly what you're looking for when you want to see sells. I would definitely say that this, then once we broke this candle low, that it's a very valid sell. All you had to be wary of is you didn't have much of a top wick, so then you have to base your stop loss on a high up level because you can't then base it on the top of that candle, it's too small. So I like what you did there, how you placed it a little bit higher, then maybe base it on the 15-minute time frame or the 5-minute time frame. And then obviously price came down and hit your TP, which is great as well. So hopefully you close some of your position, and then obviously if you had clean candles to the left, then it's an added confidence as well. But yeah, makes sense completely. You close below level of support. Again guys, there's two ways of looking at support and resistance in this situation. So we're looking at here, you can mark aggressively or passively. So what Alessandro did was he marked more aggressively. So what he said was the support level over here is going to be represented by this line, and he understands that we can reject anywhere in these wicks, but by getting this strong body candle close below those wicks, or the lowest body candle close so far, it indicates that the support may not hold. So now if the next candle wicks up and then breaks the low of the candle, so respecting the high of the previous candle and not respecting the low of the previous candle, there's a very good chance of bearish continuation. Did we have clean candles to the left? Obviously that is super important too. You can see here we had very clean candles to the left. So there's no there's no problem there when it comes to rejecting at a support or resistance level. So yeah, very nice sell. I was in sells. I took the impulse entries. You guys saw that on stream. So my sell level was all the way up here, still holding a runner at the moment. Came all the way down to here, and now just, yeah, it's not a big position left. What lot size would I use if I start my account with 5k rand? Very small, probably. I don't even know, but a cent, maybe a couple cent lots, maybe a 1 cent lot, 2 cent lot. Tiny. That's about $500. Not, yeah, probably less than $500. So I'd definitely say you need to be using a very small lot size, especially if you want to go by the 2% risk per trade. I'm on sell on sell on 1820. Floating loss. Any chance of coming back? You sold at 1820. I assume you're talking about gold, and in that case there's a little bit of problems. See, that's a problem with not having a set a set stop loss, because I'm assuming that what ended up happening was the stop loss just kept getting bigger and bigger as price went against you. So yeah, I don't know. In my situation, I would probably just end up closing a majority of your position. I mean, there's always chance of price going up or down, but based on the higher time frames, I'll definitely say we are bullish, especially with how strong yesterday's bullish candle was. So yeah, I'll just be careful. There obviously is a chance of us coming down because we are consolidating on the 4 hour. So then eventually, if we do break out of this consolidation and it's to the bottom side, we can definitely correct this big move which we had up. But the problem is if you're holding drawdown from 1820 and now prices obviously at 18 in the 1840s more or less, there's a very good chance that we could continue maybe to 1860 and then only come down. And then can your account handle that? So that's the importance again of risk management. You need to manage risk. You can't have these floating stop losses or these stop losses that keep on getting, I always talk about it, these ones, you know, where it's okay, it's a 5 or it's a 10 pip stop loss, 20, 30, 40, 50. So yeah. You want to minimize the loss, but the problem is if you wanted to minimize the loss and you took a trade at 1820, your stop loss would have been at a technical level, and I don't see this being a technical level if you're taking a sell at 1820. So minimizing loss is going to be very hard at this point. You're going to be in some, I mean, let's see how many, yeah, it's about 200 pips drawdown that you're in at the moment. So I haven't taken any trades yet today, Zimps. Nothing. You were copy trading. The guy didn't put a stop loss. Well, I don't know what to say about that, to be honest. Hope you entered with 0.01 lots. What lot size did you start with when you started trading? My first ever account wasn't too small for a starting account, so I think I was using 0.05 lots around there, and then built that up. I mean, I've still, as you do when you start off, you always tend to over risk a little bit. So I used to over risk a little bit. Then as soon as I started realizing that the most important, aspect to trading is your risk management, making sure you're not risking more than the set percentage which you want, and then obviously cutting your losses early to make sure that your wins are always bigger. Then I started realizing that, okay, let me use the correct lot size for my account. And then as my account started growing, obviously started putting more money into my account, and then got up to the point where I was, the first time you ever use a full lot. So once you start using a one lot, then you obviously start realizing that, you know, you can be in quite a lot of drawdown, quite a lot of profits. Like, so that's when things start getting a little bit more serious. And then obviously when you start using 5-10 lots, that's proper. And then, I mean, now built up, I started using 20 towards the end of last year. The first time I used a 20 lot was with you guys, I think. It may have been on one of the streams, or I posted on Instagram. Did a course that was a scam, 20k around for basics. You just got to be so careful with these courses. Also talk about that a lot. You need to understand that these guys selling the courses, they're not proper traders, they're marketers. They are paying for everything that they have with your course money. That is exactly what it is. So I definitely base legitimacy off of, and the only courses I ever did was people that I saw trade live and take trades and explain trading to me live, and not done where they post something on Instagram, you know, days later or something like that, or just not even showing any sort of proof. So that's how I would say if they're legit. If people, so a big one is Roger Banks, of course, and then another one was Todd Capital Group, and that's kind of what made me want to start doing the live streams. If you can take trades live on stream and, you know, take losses on stream, take wins on stream, but explain what you're looking at, then I think it adds a lot of clarity and a lot of, you know, validation. You can ask any of the guys here who have been watching from the beginning. You know, I always talk about this. People who sell these courses on Instagram saying, you know, you're going to be as rich as me in a couple of months. It's just a load of BS, you know, you need to be careful of that. I'd also certainly look for something on Instagram where the content is not majority results based and, you know, not trading based. So a lot of these people literally just post pictures with their cars. What I would look for rather is Instagram or any form of social media or even website where the content on there is based on chart analysis or based on, you know, just actual trading stuff. I lost so much cash for courses. Yeah, Zeems, you got taken for a bit of a ride as well. Sharif won a course, the Control FX course. I've actually heard of Control FX, I think. I'm not too sure. If I start with 5k, can I turn it into 100k within 6 months? I mean, that is flipping your account about over 12 times. Well, but that's going to be a very tough ask. I'm not going to say you can't do it because anything is possible, but I'm going to say it's going to be extremely tough, especially if you've taken, like you say, a bunch of courses which haven't actually taught you much. So unless you know how to risk manage and take, you know, 1 to 2 trades a day, I don't think that's going to be possible. If you're trading 20 lots, what's your account size? It's, don't know if I want to say the exact number, but it's over, if we're talking rands, it's over a few million rand. And if you're talking pounds, it's over 150,000 pounds. So yeah. What's your suggestion should be with minimum balance and lot size to start with? I would say whatever you can afford to lose. So whatever money doesn't, you know, you're not going to be needing that money to live off of, basically. You're not going to be needing that money to pay rent, something like that. So I'd certainly suggest make sure that you can afford to lose that money. Otherwise, I would always say when it comes to lot size, you need to base it on your stop loss, and you always want to be risking a maximum of 2% per trade, never more than 2%. So you know, you're going to have to do some maths for that one, or just get a risk management tool. I have this, let me see if it's going to open, Magic Keys. I'm pretty sure you guys, if anyone watches Roger Banks or Wix Don't Lie, this is YouTube channel, you guys know what Magic Keys is. It's a risk management tool. This can literally work out everything for you. It can work out, you know, risk percentage, all that sort of stuff. So definitely do consider looking into this. It's $30, very cheap. So yeah. There's a lot of scammers in SA. SA is one of the biggest Forex scamming communities you'll ever come across. That is correct. Do you have any plan for a GJ buy? Not at the moment. I think that's going to be counter trend. I'd like to see us get above 153.845. Then we got the clean candles to the left. I think we can come up to this level of resistance. Otherwise, I want to see bearish continuation, but I do realize that we have made a very strong bearish push on the daily time frame, so I wouldn't be surprised now that we're at this daily support level to come up a little bit, form some resistance on the daily, so maybe 2 bullish days or 1 bullish day, and then we continue this overall bearish momentum. That's what I really like to see, and then I'll catch those sells back down to the lows. I started learning Ichimoku, still doesn't make sense to me. Don't even bother with Ichimoku. Honestly, the best, what I can advise is the best. You don't need indicators, you don't need signals, none of this stuff, guys. The only indicators you need are your eyes. If you can if you can look at a chart and understand price action, every indicator under the sun, just ignore it. Indicators are lagging, guys. That means price moves and then the indicator tells you how price has moved. All you need for that is your eyes. I can see prices going up, I can see prices going down. No indicator can predict what the market's going to do. If there was this magic indicator which could do that and basically tell you when to sell or buy, everyone would be rich and everyone would be using it, but it's just not true. That's why price action is the only indicator you need. What about GU buy? I'll check that out just now. Working 9 to 5. What's the price for your signals? I don't offer signals. I only offer analysis. I only offer mentorship and a course. Again, if you guys are looking at who's legitimate and who's not, just go look at who's offering signals and stuff. You'll often find signal providers are some of the most illegitimate Forex traders you'll ever come across. Working 9 to 5, so maybe copying signals is best suited for me. I honestly don't think so. I don't think that you will ever get rich off of signals or copy trading or anything like that. But I understand that you work a 9 to 5 and it can be hard. What you can maybe do, depending on where you live in the world, is find a session which is going to suit you. So I think you're from South Africa. So if you can trade before you go to your 9 to 5, so maybe trade an earlier session, or if you can trade when you come home from work. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to have to maybe wake up for Asian session, which obviously isn't ideal because it's 3 o'clock in the morning if you are in South Africa. And I definitely never let the markets determine when I'm going to trade. And yeah, Euro USD analysis, I will check that out just now. If you can also maybe send a chart through, I would be able to help out with that. Most legit is King's Capital. I appreciate that. Seems Asian session any good? Asian session, like all sessions, has its times of the year when it has a lot of volume. What I would say with Asian session though is that it's probably my least favorite session when it comes to volume, and I've noticed throughout the year it probably has the least volume. Well, compared to London and New York. London definitely hasn't been good recently. Over the past few streams, I've definitely been hating on it a little bit, but New York's been amazing. So yeah, I would say that it's just finding the one that suits you best. Sometimes if it's not a good session that you can trade, at least it's a session to trade. What time frames must we focus on when analyzing Nasdaq? I would say the weekly, daily, 4 hour and 30 minute. 30 minutes or 1 hour, just depending on what the volatility during the cycle is like. So at the moment it sounds, let me check out Nasdaq. It sounds like there's a good amount of volume in the market. So let's see. Let's go to the weekly. Yeah, I mean, we're coming down quite strong. So I'd certainly say that it looks like there's quite a lot of volume. If you look at these monthly candles, this monthly candle is bigger in itself, or has moved in itself more than the last 3 months. So there's definitely a lot of volume in the market. So what I would take into consideration is more so than the 1 hour structure than 30-minute structure, because the 1 hour is obviously going to swap structures a little bit less in the 30-minute. And that's exactly what I do on gold. If gold, because it's flips so much when it comes to structure, it can be very, very tough to establish a structural bias on the 30-minute. So I would keep to the 1 hour. You can see how big this monthly candle has been on Nasdaq. Very, very bearish as well. So yeah, Himalaya Dev, if you can send a chart through, that would be a lot better. Then I can show you if I think what you're looking at on Euro USD is right. At the moment, again guys, nothing showing on either pair here. Printing barcodes on gold, and also no moves to be made on GJ. Oh yes, let me check out GU. I don't trade GU, but I'm more than happy to look at it because a lot of people do trade it as well. It's gonna be pretty similar, I think, in market structure to GJ. If we look at the weekly, last week we obviously had a bearish week, so our market structure on the weekly is bearish. Tomorrow afternoon we take into consideration the current week. So market structure bearish on the weekly. You can also see on the weekly we respected the previous week's weekly high, and with this weekly candle, then we broke last week's weekly low, which often indicates that we're going to have that bearish continuation, because what that indicates as well on the higher time frames is that the bullish momentum is running low and the bearish momentum is picking up. So just be aware of that. If we drop down to the daily time frame now, we're going to need to see what our structure is. If this was our low, it was created by this point over here, so this is our daily pullback. So we need a candle close above that to be bullish. You can see we got that candle close and we created a new high, meaning we are bullish in market structure. Now we need to see where we're going to be bearish in market structure, and that's going to be a flip below this level because that is our pullback. So I would say that our market structure on the daily is bullish, on the weekly is bearish. What we're looking at now, as you can see, we have just closed yesterday's daily candle on a level of daily support. So we know how strong levels of daily support are. What we would either want to see now is some support start forming to retest these levels, or if we're going to continue bearish, we need to see us get through this level of daily support. So now we're going to drop down to low time frames, so we go to the 4 hour now, and now we can start marking in some zones. So what I see clearly here is a level of 4 hour resistance which is formed, and a level of 4 hour support which is formed. You can see above the level of 4 hour resistance, we've got clean 4 hour candles. So what I'd be looking for is obviously buys above this level. If on the lower time frames our candles are also clean. If we're going to be looking at sells, you can see it's a little bit choppier because if we break below this level, we got a wick to deal with here, which on the lower time frames could be some support. Otherwise, we could see ourselves coming down towards this 1.340 level. So let's drop down to the lower time frames. We don't really have to look at the 1 hour, let's rather look at the 30 minute to adjust our zones. And also market structure on the 4 hour, by the way, guys, is bearish. You can see how bearish the last couple of weeks, or the last week's been, and this week so far. So we have a 2v1 bearish, and now we're going to get our last structural sort of bias. So this is still a valid zone. You can see why. If we get a candle close above 1.349, we got clean candles to the left. We are also currently bearish in market structure on the 30 minute. You can see this is our low. We look for our 2 candle pullback. There's one, here's 2. So we're only going to be bullish above this level. So we're 3v1 bearish at the moment, which obviously plays into our higher time frames. You can see how bearish we've been the past few days and the past couple of weeks. So sells, I'd be looking for sells maybe below this level. We obviously got to go look left and see what our price action is like. You can see there's a level of support right here. So it's going to be very risky sells because you're going to be selling at a level of support. So rather adjust that zone and see where you can find clean sells. Otherwise, what I'd be looking for even more aggressive sells is definitely going to be below this consolidation level. And why is that? Clean candles to the left, bearish market structure. Now what you need is your candle confirmations. So you want to see a candle close below this 1.34686 level, and then you want to see the next candle wick up and continue to retest this low. So I hope that makes sense. That's going to be your, I would say that would be the move I would be looking for if I was trading this pair, because we have the bearish market structure, clean candles to the left. We've obviously been consolidating for a little while on the 30 minute. So if we break out of this consolidation, it's an indication that we've decided we're going to continue bearish. if we break out of it to the top side, just be aware we could push up and then continue the bearish push down. So those, just wait for the candle confirmations, wait for candle closes. I would not be trying to take an impulse at this time. So I hope that helps out, Ross. Coming down a little bit on gold, which is nice, we've been consolidating, you can see that. So we need to get below this support level first, then we need to get below the further down support level, so that's going to be about here. I think much safer sells are certainly going to come below 1838 as opposed to this 1839 level. You can see the reason why I think that that's going to be better to sell at is because look at the amount of range we have here. We have all these clean candles, whereas if we take a sell now, we have a support level coming up at 1838, and that's not going to be ideal because then we could then start rejecting that area and continuing back up into this range, and then start moving down or start moving up. So just be aware of the amount of range that you have to trade in. It's 10 seconds till this candle closes. So if we do get this nice strong bearish candle close, we have about 10 pips to trade into. So it's going to obviously be up to you then if you want to take that 10 pip range and try to get some earlier sells. Otherwise, what you're going to want to see is us get down to this level and then continue. So I can see why sells would entice some people here. You got a nice strong bearish candle close, and you also got this level to come down to because this is our previous level of support under our marked out support level. But the problem is the range here is very little. It is 12 pips of range. Again, guys, market structure on gold is 2v2 bullish bearish. So yes, sells do technically by bearish market structure, technicals make a little bit of sense. Just going to go back to GJ. Yeah, also be aware of fake outs. Any traders courses in SA we should stay away from. Definitely not going to name them on stream or try slam anyone's courses or anything like that, but all I'd say is just be aware of people who the majority of their content is basically them in nice cars or them saying how they can make you so much money in X amount of time. There's a few of those for sure. So yeah, there's not a lot of big South African traders who I'd actually say are good traders. And I don't think there's any South African traders who, you know, stream live, that sort of thing, that I know of personally. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to say don't do this person's course or don't do that person's course. Let's see here. Zeems sent a Nasdaq chart. We've got the clean candles to the left above that level. You need to obviously be aware that we do have bearish market structure. So that would be a counter trend trade. And then on the flip side, we got obviously, yeah, if we get a nice candle close below this level of support, we can definitely continue down to 14.078, and then if we get a further candle close below that level, we can definitely see a retest of the 13.717 level. Just be aware though, obviously Nasdaq, the way that it moves, it's very based on fundamentals, and the price action can obviously just be thrown out the window when it comes to fundamentals. If we are going to look at fundamentals, by the way, guys, we have had some news this morning. We had some yen news. Very low impact, so actually didn't do much. It was good yen numbers, but again, low impact. We do have some consumer confidence coming in a bit later today at 5 o'clock South African time, so just minus 2 hours if you are in Europe, more or less, it's going to be around there. Tomorrow though, there is some massive dollar news, so just be aware of this if you are going to be trading fundamentally. You have FOMC, which is huge, and federal funds rate, which is huge. They both come out at 9 p.m, so it's going to be very late at night. Just be aware of that. Other than that, there's not a huge amount of news affecting, well, the pairs that I trade. So I only trade GJ and gold. So then on this is Thursday as well, we have the GDP quarterly for the dollar, and then we have some unemployment claims and some medium impact news. But I also think that you know, how these have worked in the past is they have moved the markets quite a lot. So just something to be aware of. And then other than that, yeah, just be mainly aware of tomorrow. Tomorrow evening is going to be some heavy impact news on gold. So that could be why we've been consolidating over the last, you know, few, well, I would, yeah, say since the 20th, it hasn't been really good price action, because normally what happens before big news events is we get a consolidation and then a big impulse either up or down based on the numbers. So yeah, let's just be aware of that. No trades taken yet today, guys. Possible fake out for anyone on GJ who was taking that entry. Hopefully they manage risk though. And then I still think that the best options we're gonna have, I wouldn't even be interested in trading this range, guys. Unless what ends up happening is we get a move down and then one clean move up and respect this resistance level, then you can start scaling into some sells on the way down, because then we'll obviously have the clean candles to the left, and that'll be our most recent price action. So if you have choppy price action, then you get a clean move and respect the range levels, then you can obviously get those sells down, or if it's a clean move down and then respect the bottom of the range, you can get clean moves back up. So just be aware of that. Certainly an alternative to waiting for price to break here, but that's definitely always going to be your safer options, waiting for a range to break. Yeah, all the charts in the Telegram today were really good, guys. Very, very happy with the chart marking. It's been very nice recently. Just gotta wait at the moment. If we now do come down and break this low, you could almost say that this wick is a retest of the support level. So on the lower time frames, that'll be turning support to resistance, and then it does make sense to at least come down to 1838. Actually, not that low. I'd say, yeah, 1838.41 is where you could start finding a bit of a struggle for price to continue. Obviously, if we have a lot of volume, which on gold volume does mainly come during the New York session, because then the dollar banks are all opening, and that's when the markets really start moving for any dollar related pair. So we're not going to have the most volume now. That's why it's also really important, guys, to choose pairs which, when market opens happen, get affected by those market opens. So obviously pound yen's a really good one, because when London Open happens, it directly affects any pound related pair. Same as with gold and the dollar. When the New York Open happens, it's obviously going to affect any dollar related pair. We are coming down a little bit here. Would make sense to continue down to 1838, I think. Yeah, 12 pip range, I'm not going to be entertaining that, but I do see potential for that. How often do you play in the range? If any EG sells at the top, buy at the low, if there's clean candles and structures on my side. So a really good example is going to be GJ for this one. Let's say now we have, let's see, get this tool. Let's say we've been forming, you know, lower highs, low lows, and then we start ranging. So we have clear bearish market structure, and then, you know, we start getting some really choppy price action, but then respect the range and create some more clean candles. Now, once we get to the high up at this level, what I'll obviously have marked out is this range level. And now our market structure is obviously still bearish, right? So what in bearish market structure, I'm looking for sells. Now, if I want to get sells at an optimal price, which is going to be here, as opposed to waiting for a candle break below the low over here, what I'll wait for is obviously us to respect this range, respect the level of resistance. And then obviously if we got the clean candles to the left, then I'll be interested in playing the range and taking a sell down to the bottom of the range. Of course, it's going to be tough to take any sort of sells in a range or any sort of buys in a range, because trading a range is terrible. Like, it's not ideal, but sometimes you can definitely get the right opportunities out of it. So I'd say I don't do it often, but if the opportunity arises, I will make sure that the confluences are on my side and that I'm happy to do it. Good example of actual market showing it is, you know, if we start ranging now a little bit, and then we can more or less play in between this range. I wouldn't be looking at taking buys in this range, of course, because my market structure on GJ is bearish, 3v1 bearish. So what I'm going to be waiting for is a clean move up to the top, form some resistance, then form some minor support and break that minor support, and then I think there's going to be some sell entries and scale into it as we go down to this level, if that makes sense. Other than that, yeah, I don't suggest trading ranges, that's for sure, guys. Gold is moving weirdly right now. We are also on a 1 hour level of support. So if we can get a nice 1 hour close below this level, then there is also again chance of bearish continuation. But we don't want to see us now fake out of this range, because then essentially what's going to happen is if we get this candle close below, then close back in the range, 90% of the time that happens, then we're going to retest the top of the range. So just be aware of that. Obviously, if you are considering taking sells or in sells or anything like that. But we got about another 10-15 minutes, guys. I want to obviously see. I don't see any chances at the moment on GJ. Gold, I'm very interested in sells below 1838.39. Just need a candle close, or buys above 1844.12. Those are my only two sort of thoughts on gold. I definitely wasn't interested in this just because of how small the range was, even though we had a really nice candle close. It's also nice to see a few more guys pick up on market structure in the chat. I definitely have noticed it over the last week more so. So yeah, it seems like you guys are slowly grasping the concept of market structure, which is great to see, because you guys know how important I think market structure is. Probably the most important technical factor. I still think risk management is the most important factor to trading, but I would say the most important technical factor to trading is certainly market structure, guys. So just making sure you're always trading with the trend. Just one more thing on GJ. What's your opinion of the higher low? 153.200. Does that have some indication that we might be turning bullish, or would you like to see break above? Yeah, so I certainly want to see a break above 153.825 at least. Obviously, I trade clean candles or price action basically. So the only way I'd be enticed into taking a buy is if we get the candle close above this level. I do see the high low, but what's very important to remember about market structure, guys, is even if you start seeing situations where we have a strong push down and then we start seeing higher lows and higher highs form, it's very important to remember that this is counter trend. If this is our low, this is a point which created the low. By getting then a close above this level will be where we are bullish, and that's where I'll be interested in buys. I'm not interested in taking the buys back up to this resistance level, only to respect this resistance level and come back down, because then obviously we're trading with the trend. By taking these buys, just because we see higher lows or higher highs, does not mean that we are then, bullish in market structure or buys are now on. That's what I often talk about. You'll see traders will create a low, and then we'll start creating higher lows, and people will start getting excited and thinking, oh, we're bullish, this is the time to buy at the lows, because then they take the buy up to this level and they think we're going to carry on, and then that's where we start rejecting, because that is our level of market structural flip. So if we respect this level, then there's big trouble for any buyers, because that means we're respecting the level of market structure. Because why? This is our low, and this is the point which created the low. So I don't get too excited about seeing higher lows or anything like that. What I do get excited about is seeing levels of structural flips. And then that's where I'm interested in obviously taking trades. What I did say on the daily time frame though, which maybe then could play into the buyer's idea, is we have made this very strong daily bearish push. What that means is now we've also rejected a level of daily support. We could see some exhaustion, so that could be 1 or 2 bullish days. Again, that does not mean we're then bullish in market structure. What that means is then we are exhausting a little bit, only to continue with that further move bearish to retest the lows once we've formed resistance after the pullback, and then we can continue to retest the lows and create new lows. The only problem right now that we have with the sells is obviously we're on this daily resistance level, daily support level, and we've made this very strong push already. So it's expected to see some form of bullish candles possibly forming, or some form of exhaustion from this strong bearish push. And then what I would like to see is, if we're going to maintain overall bearish market structure, is for some resistance on the higher time frames to form at this previous level of support. So then that's your break and retest. And then once you've retested, that's when you scale back in down to the lows. So I hope that makes sense. Just gonna have to wait and see. Check GU, I'll check it out now. Nice clean candles, it's just counter trend. So what you need to see, in a counter trend trade, you never want to take an impulse entry. Well, from my experience, I don't like to do that. So what you want to see, if you're going to take a counter trend trade, which obviously we have the clean candles to the left, what you want to see is a candle close. And then the next candle to wick down and break the high of this candle, because then that indicates that we've now broken out of this consolidation and we could start moving bullish. What I'm obviously wary of is we could get up to this level or even this level, and then that's when we start rejecting, maintaining bearish market structure and coming back down. And then that's where I would, if I traded this pair, be interested in some sells down to the lows. What if GJ creates resistance on the previous zone, but they are not clean candles? Let me just check that out. Like, there sometimes are situations where you can't always only trade clear candles. So all that means though is that you're running the risk basically. Let's say now we form resistance over here, or we form resistance up here. And then we have some support levels on the way down over here. Overall, we're probably going to respect that resistance and make our way back down to the bottom. But the problem is, how much drawdown are you willing to hold? Or are you willing to see us reject these support levels and then come back up and then stagger our way down? Or do you just want to see one clean move? That's basically all clean candles provides us with. Clean candles provides us with clean moves, as opposed to doing something like this. Like, we still know that price could get up to this level if there's no clean candles, but it's not going to be 1 or 2 just clean candles. What it's going to be is like a move up. What could end up happening is we come down a little bit, then continue that move up. So what the clean candles provides us with is just the smooth sort of moves that we get. So I would say that I would obviously be a little bit tempted into taking trades if we start forming some resistance, because obviously that means we're respecting this consolidation, we're respecting this range, and we're in the bearish market structure. But I just want to see clean candles. That is something I look for, definitely. But I know there are situations where you can't only find clean candles or only look for clean candles. Gold looks like it's about to fake out properly. Did want to see a strong bearish close on gold's 4-hour, especially below this support level. I think that's going to be a strong indicator that we can come back down. But we're going to have to wait and see. We got about another hour and 10 minutes on this 4-hour candle, and gold at the moment is obviously just stuck in a range. Don't even try trade gold at this point. Kind of invalidates this zone. So yeah, this is your most important zones at gold at the moment. 1838 and 1844. That's all I would be looking for. GJ, yeah, I would definitely say, look, we're not going to get a market structure flip on the 4 hour for a very long time. So we're not going to be able to get that bullish market structure, you know, a 2v2, because our 30 minutes is already bullish, but it's our 4 hour, which will be the next one then to flip bullish. So we're not going to get that bullish market structure until we get above 154.500, which is quite a way up. So what I would be looking for, obviously, then is if we're going to be taking the riskier buys, it's going to be above this level, just based on the clean candles to the left and us not respecting this range that we've currently started to establish. But honestly, guys, I think that it's going to be a lot safer just to not take a counter trend trade in that sort of situation. Don't try force a trade just because you want to take one. Rather wait to see exactly what you want to see. If I see a really strong bullish candle close above this level, that's indicating to me a few things. Obviously, not respecting the resistance level. Strong bullish candle means that there's a lot of buyers in the market. You know, you want to see strong, healthy candles as your closing candles, as opposed to, you know, like a weak little doji candle closing below or above. You want to see nice, strong, bullish or bearish candles. In this situation, a nice, strong, bullish engulfing candle. Candlestick knowledge is very, very underrated. So if you guys, you know, are interested in learning more about candles, it's definitely something that's going to help you with your trading without a doubt. It's a lot of free documents and free videos and a bunch of crap online about it. So that can definitely help out a lot. Looks like it's going to be another dead London Open, back to old ways, and it could be, well, definitely going to be trying to look for something maybe in between. I can't trade New York today, so it's going to have to be in between. Maybe set some buy stops above. Because what I'm very interested, guys, if we're looking long term on gold, now that we had this strong bullish candle close, obviously we do have a bit of a big wick, but if we do break last week's weekly high, there's no reason why we shouldn't fill majority of this range. We've got the clean candles to the left, and then by that point we've retested this zone, which was once previously resistance. You'll see on the lower time frames, daily and 4 hour, that will then be your support. So again, you'll break and retest, and then we would have broken the high, and then I see us continuing up to at least this high 1860s, maybe even 1870, but we need to break last week's weekly high. So when this sort of situation arises, I normally do end up setting buy stops above certain levels, or sell stops if I'm wanting to take sells. But I think buy stops above these sorts of levels would definitely be an option for me. Obviously, make sure to have an alarm as well, guys. If you do set a buy stop based on higher time frames and it triggers while you're sleeping or something like that, you can make sure you can hear that. Otherwise, you're going to be waking up to a big shock. So yeah, I've probably got about, let's see, about 5 minutes left, guys. And then that'll be it for the stream. Otherwise, please let me know if you have any last questions, any last charts you want me to check out for you, and I'll happily do so. No problem. You guys more or less know my ideas on gold and GJ. I'm not touching gold while it's in this range, and I'm not very interested in GJ while it's in this range in this current state. Obviously, we do have some clean candles forming now, so if we start forming resistance here, could maybe start coming down and retesting the bottom of the range. Otherwise, you know what I want to see above there or below there. It's like a hurricane outside. Super windy here. Don't know if anyone in the chat ever looks at Bitcoin or is interested in at all in crypto, but I don't know if you saw how bad it's been recently. It's nuts. So you take any trades today? No trades taken. Nada. Just waiting. Patience pays. Yeah, Bitcoin, I have this level marked out because if we look on the weekly time frame, obviously everyone's trying to catch the lowest possible point to then buy it back up. But if you are one of those people who believes that Bitcoin is going to just keep on pushing, even though we're going to come down and retest certain zones, I think this is a very safe level to then have some buy stops or something like that set. Because then we can definitely ride this up back to the highs, because that'll be your retest of maybe this 30,000 area. 30,000 is going to be a really strong area. You can see on the weekly time frame that's a very strong support level. So if we come down to 30,000, a lot of people obviously will be trying to buy 30,000, but that probably means it'll come down a little bit more. And then if we do eventually ever get back up above 44,000, I think there's going to be some safe buys, because then it would have done its retest of the lows. That's just if anyone is interested at all in Bitcoin. Trading it rather than just holding. It was a nice type B entry for buys yesterday. Check this. Like, I don't know if this is a problem on the liquidity provider, but I mean, it's on every time frame. So I don't think it is. Just the way that this moves is ridiculous. Gold coming down, which is nice. Really wanted to continue. That work, I know, bro. That is something else. Okay, this candle closes in 2 minutes. So let's wait and see how this candle closes, and then I'm off, guys. Let's see if we get a nice strong bearish candle close. I do understand that we could then obviously respect the support level, but if we're going to slowly start moving down, what we might do is respect the support level, come up a little bit, and then continue bearish. Maybe down to 1834. 1834 would be a really nice level to come down to. We're just going to have to wait and see. Again, guys, based on the 4-hour time frame, you can see we have this 4-hour support level. If we get a candle close below this 4-hour support level, and then next 4-hour candle will then wicks up and continues, we could see ourselves coming down nice and low to the bottom of this range. 1832, 1834, very likely. We just need obviously the lower time frames to correlate with the higher time frames. Our market structure, just a quick reminder is 2v2, so buys and sells are pretty likely to both play out, or there's equal amounts of buyers and sellers currently in this market. So just take that into consideration, be aware of that. Otherwise, there's not too much else I can advise on gold. Just try not to play this range too much. It's coming down pretty nicely. Candle close in 45 seconds. If anyone has taken a trade in the chat, do let me know and let me know how it went. I hope no one did get faked out by GJ earlier, like I said. And gold, what would have happened in this gold entry if people were taking sells at the break of this low? We did break it, came down to about here, and then had this whole wick up, and now it started coming down again. So most people probably, if they were managing risk, would have closed the majority of their position by the time you got up here. I know I certainly would have. So yeah, but this is very nice to see as well. Quite happy with this. It's also important to remember, guys, that if you get closes without candle closes without bottom or top wicks, there's a very good chance that you can see a bit of a flip in the other direction. So now we don't really have a bottom wick on here, so you might notice this next candle might close bullish. But what I would obviously love to see is us continue down. Other than that, guys, that is going to be me for the day. This is not the best candle close I've ever seen in my life, but I do want to see definitely some bearish continuation. Let's keep an eye out, remember, on the higher time frames, specifically the 4-hour time frame. I think if we don't respect this support, and now we've respected the top of the range, wicked up to the top, rejected these resistance levels, we can definitely see ourselves coming down. So I hope that everyone has a great rest of their day. Trade safely, please, guys. Don't rush into anything. I appreciate all the support as well. So if you haven't before you go, please do leave a like on the stream, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, blip, no problem. I do appreciate it, yeah, guys. And I will see you all same time tomorrow. Members, I'm going to chat to you guys. I'll try to chat you all individually. Nick, I'm going to chat you on WhatsApp as well. And cheers, Sharif, thank you very much. Everyone else in chat, you guys always supporting me. I do appreciate that too. So I will see you guys same time tomorrow. Cheers, cheers.